Good night, how everyone doing tonight? God is good and God is good all the time. My name is Arma J, the creator of the world. I don't have any news for y'all tonight, but I do have a word. I have a word to bring on to you tonight, and the title gonna be Misunderstanding. And that's a lot going on lately. So misunderstanding is failure to understand something correctly, lack of communication. And we all have a lot of lack of communication. So when they came to Galilee near the Jordan in the land of Canaan, and the Israelites in Canaan. So the Reubenites and the half tribes, they built and posted an altar there by the Jordan. So when the Israelites heard that they had built an altar on the border of Canaan, of Galilee near the Jordan on the Israelite side. So the whole assembly of Israel gathered together to go to war. Now they heard. They didn't go over there to ask questions and see what they're doing. All they know, they're ready to go to war. And see, that's how it is today. You have light communication. You're always hearing something, and instead of going and have communication with that person to really find out what's going on, you quick to want to go to war. Now, they not once go over there. All they know, somebody told them somebody's building something on our side. Now, see, them going over there and ask them what they doing. They didn't do that. They didn't have no communication at all. All they know, they're ready to go to war. So now they're ready to go to war without any kind of communication. So when they went to Galilee and the half tribes, they said to them, the whole assembly of the Lord say, how could you break faith with God? Now they think they built an altar and rebelled against God. They think. They never talked to no one yet. All they know, somebody told them somebody built something on their side. But still, they didn't go and ask what is going on. And now they're saying that the people rebel against God. So now they think Reubenites altar and rebelling against God. So the Israelites heard that the Reubenites built an altar on their side. But they never had communication to what they was doing. All they know, they want to go to war. Now I'm about to read over here in my Bible about to hear that all this was a misunderstanding. People can always have a misunderstanding, but you won't have a misunderstanding if you have communication. So let me read over here and show you how this is just a misunderstanding. Now, a misunderstanding can corrupt over little things and big things. So when this happens, the best course of action is to open it or communicate. That's what I say. A lesson learned in a mused way by the people of Israel. Now the trials of the Reuben gang, the half trials, built an altar near the Jordan. Now all the other people of Israel heard of this and are outraged, and they assumed this is a new place of worship. Now see, they were scared because the Israelites already have a place where they worship at. So they thought they was building another altar for them to worship, and they thought the people gonna be driven away from them to go worship over there by the Reubenites. So that the trials on the east side of the Jordan would no longer come to worship. And see, that what they were scared of. They thought they were going to drive their people away and go worship by them. So they're angry enough to go to war until they talk. Now the leaders from east side of the Jordan expressed their concern and intention. Now by the end of the conversation, the tribes on the west side of the Jordan celebrate. Now this what the altar was that they was building. They thought they was building an altar to worship. Now the altar what they built on the west side of the Jordan, they celebrate a memorial of their unit. And that's what they was on. Now see, only if they would have had communication at the beginning, they wouldn't have been angry. They wouldn't have want to go to war. Now all this was a misunderstanding because they never had no communication. So all this altar was to celebrate the memorial of their unit. So it is not an altar. And then again, it's not even an altar. It is a reminder that the tribes of Israel ought to always stand together. Now you see, what is meant for peace ultimately led to war, and to the people communicate. So peace. This was a memorial day for their unit, what they do all the time. So that's like peace. What meant for peace was about to end up in a war. Because the people did not communicate. So when Israel decided to communicate, when two leaders came together to communicate, then everything was okay. When it should have been okay at the beginning. But they want to be angry and ready to go to war instead of going over there and ask them what they're doing or what you're building. And they didn't want to do that. Until it was time for the two leaders to come together. So that's how we are today. We out of communication. Without communication, you ready to go to war. All we have to do is sit down and have communication. And that's how we is today. Somebody can come and tell us something and get us all enraged. Instead of questioning the person to find out exactly what's going on. We just all get all mad. Some of them want to go to war like the Israelites did. They want to go to war. Some people just get mad and you wonder why the person stopped talking. It's all about it's lack of communication. And all you have to do is communicate. If you hear something, communicate. Then the Israelite heard something that somebody was over there on their side building the altar, but they never walked over there to question them and ask them what they're doing. So that's what we all have to do. Stop hearing stuff without having communication with somebody to have closure. Because you ain't going to have closure because you're going to always keep on walking around mad and booted up because somebody told you something. Once the two leaders came together, they were able to come to some kind of common ground. Now all this was a misunderstanding. Now that was, and then they say it wasn't the altar. It was an imposter on altar. It's something they can take down when they finish. There's something they do all the time. It's a memorial of their unit. Something they do all the time. It wasn't a real altar. It was an imposter on altar. Something you can just take a loose. I guess they always traveling, and they, take a loose and bring it with them. So that's how we are today. Without communication, there are war. Only you have communication, you can squash whatever misunderstanding it may have. And you'll realize it's just all a misunderstanding. So one, if you hear something from someone, communicate to see what's going on. That's all they had to do. All they had to do was walk over there and find out, excuse me, what are y'all doing? What you building the altar or what? And it was explained to her, this, we celebrate a memorial of our union. That's all they was doing. And it wasn't a real altar. It was an imposter altar, something they can take down. So two, when there are lack of communication, it will be a misunderstanding. It will be a misunderstanding. If you have and that's how a relationship is these days. A lot of times relationships go left, because lack of communication. One party just get mad and angry. And sometimes you stay angry for so long till you don't even know what you're angry about no more. A lot of relationships just fall apart because of lack of communication. So don't be so quick to go to war. Don't be so quick to go to war. Don't be so quick to fight. Don't be so quick to get mad. Don't be so quick to pack up your stuff and leave out the house. Sit down and ask, what's going on? Have communication. You have all that stuff in the church too. All that confusion And all that confusion is misunderstanding when you can just have communication. You know, so we see the west side of the Jordan, they celebrate this memorial for their unity. And the Israelites thought they was building another worship, and they thought they was gonna spread their people away from their worshiping into their worshiping. All this here was a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding. What was meant for peace ultimately turned to war. You know, until the people communicate. And that's what this is all about, communication. You know, they're about to go to war. If the two leaders wouldn't have came together to sit down and have a communication, to have a peace talk, they would have never came to no common grounds. A war would have been going on. You know, all the war have to stop. You stop being so quick to go to war. You know, always sit down and have a peace talk and find out what is the problem, what is the issue. You know, and sometimes you can't come to some kind of communication, some kind of common grounds. You know, but luckily they came to some kind of common grounds, and it wasn't able to go to war because they sit down and communicate and find out exactly that it was not a war. And then they jumped to conclusion. They thought they was rebelling against God. How dare you break your faith? You know, they just coming up with all kind of stuff instead of going and sit down and talk to the Reubenites to find out exactly what is going on. They started accusing them with all kind of stuff. You rebelled against God. You did this, you did that, instead of walking over there and finding out exactly what's going on. And that's what we have to do today. You know, if you have an issue with someone, if you have a problem or you think something is going on, have communication with someone. And sometimes you'll realize it's all just a misunderstanding. You know, just walk can come to it can come together. You know, if the two leaders really can sit down like these two leaders just did. These two leaders sit down and they had a peace talk. And they found out this whole situation was just a misunderstanding. And they even had to go to war. You know, sometimes sit down and have a conversation. You know, stop being so quick to go to war. This war can always come to an end. You know, only if you sit down and have a communication. Because you might realize that all this here probably just was a misunderstanding. You know, a misunderstanding. You know, luckily these two leaders were able to sit down and have a conversation, and they found out all this was just a misunderstanding. Just a misunderstanding. Now this story came from Joshua, chapter 22, 10 through 20. You know, it came from Joshua. You know, and these two leaders had a misunderstanding. You know, but it was good that they decided, you know, to sit down and talk. You know, so they ain't even had to go to war. They had common sense to have common grounds and realize it was a misunderstanding. Sooner they sit down and had a conversation. And that's what we ought to do today. You know, stop being so quick to go to war. Stop being so quick to fight. Stop being so quick to be mad and boot it up. You know, so many relationships have fell apart because of misunderstanding. No communication. You got to have communication in this world. You know, on your job, with your business, with your partner, you got to have some kind of communication, or it will go to war. It will go to war. Now, these two leaders were about to go to war, and all the while, it was just a misunderstanding. You know, they were celebrating a unit. That's something they do all the time. And they thought they was building an altar to spread their people away to worship in their altar. And also they thought they was rebelling against God. And it wasn't none of those things. You know, so sometimes you need to just come together. If you have an issue, you have a problem, you know, like these two leaders did. They were able to come to some kind of common ground. without going to war. Without going to war. Going to war all the time don't solve no problem. It just causes destruction after destruction. So sometimes war don't solve problems all the time. It just leads from problem to problem to problem, stone to stone. So we need to be like these two leaders. Not the Israelite was a little over their head at first. They didn't want to have no conversation. They just was ready to go to war, but some kind of way they decided to have a conversation with the other leader. So these two leaders had a conversation, and they found out it was just a misunderstanding. And that's what I need y'all to do today in this lifetime. Things can change. You can't bump nobody without somebody ready to beat you up and shoot you and all this kind of stuff. You're ready to do something before you even say, excuse me, I'm sorry. When somebody just came and told them, oh, somebody building something on our side. Instead of the leader going over there to find out what's going on, he just took this person's word and then, we got to go to war. So I be so quick to always want to go to war for every problem, every solution. War don't solve everything. War don't solve anything at all. It just leads to destruction, stone to stone, fire to fire. It's not going to solve anything. It's not going to solve anything at all. You see how these two leaders did? They sit down and had a conversation and came to a common ground, and they realized all this was a misunderstanding. So that means they didn't go to war, but they were about to go to war. They would have went to war if they wouldn't sit down and had a conversation. So I need everybody these days. If you have an issue, you have a problem, or somebody come to you with issue, like this person came to them about an issue, but if you feel like somebody came to you with an issue, always go to that person and have a conversation to find out what's going on or what you're doing. Don't be so quick to pick up your weapon and you better go to war. I need this world to come together. Put down the weapon. Pick up a Bible. Because war don't solve anything. Fighting don't solve anything. It don't solve anything at all. So I hope y'all enjoyed this word. And always remember, if these two leaders can come together without going to war, we can do the same thing too. Always have communication when you hear something. That will help a whole lot. This helped a whole lot when the two leaders came together and they ain't had to go to war. Did not have to go to war because they realized all this was a misunderstanding. They came to common grounds and they both went their own separate ways. We need to do that today in this lifetime. Because this world is just falling apart and I'm trying to put it back together. We don't need to go to war for everything. We don't need to fight for everything. If everybody can start picking up that Bible and start reading God's word, all this war, all this crime, all this stuff will stop. Because once you start reading that word, it will humble you. You won't want to do the things that you normally used to do when you get angry. I'm not perfect. When I get upset or whatever, that's the first thing I do, grab the Bible. And that Bible will calm you down. So if everyone can pick up a Bible and start reading God's word, you won't be going to war. But every time a situation happens, when a situation happens, grab that Bible. That's what I do. That's what I do. I don't be quick to grab no weapon or grab my words to go to war. So I hope y'all enjoy this word and I hope y'all have a blessed night. And always remember, going to war do not solve anything at all. So I hope y'all have a blessed and safe night and I'll see you on next video.